Hey guys, what up? It's Juju6 here, and I'm going to be doing an album review on Marilyn Manson's new album, Born Villain. So, the track listings to this album are Hey Cruel World, No Reflection, Pistol Whipped, Overneath the Path of Misery, Slo-Mo-Tion, The Gardner, The Flowers of Evil, Children of Cain, Disengaged, Lay Down Your GD Arms, Murderers Are Getting Prettier Every Day, Born Villain, Breaking the Same Old Ground, and also the bonus track, You're So Vain, which is by Carly Simpson originally, but Marilyn Manson covered it. Now, going into this album, let me just say first and foremostly, I'm not a huge Marilyn Manson fan, but the first track I ever listened to off this album was actually the bonus track, You're So Vain. I checked that out because I know the song, I know the original song, and listening to that being the first song I ever heard off this album, I really did love it. Marilyn Manson did a great job with this cover. He actually made it honestly better than the original song in my opinion, which is awesome too. And then I decided to listen to the whole entire album, and for the most part I truly did love pretty much every single song. Now, it's not like a perfect album, it's definitely got some cons, but it has a lot more pros than cons, definitely. Marilyn Manson's old music talked a lot about the degrading Christianity and saying how God won't help you, and just degrading Christianity, like I said before. Which I didn't really like, but for the most part the songs off this album, his new stuff, is kind of taking a little turn. I mean, he does talk about degrading Christianity in some parts, but for the most part, every single song he talks about something different, which I thought was cool. A lot of people that listen to Marilyn Manson's old music probably wouldn't like this CD as much, because for the most part, all of the songs off this CD are very slow, they're not very heavy, and Marilyn Manson doesn't scream a lot. Which is maybe because I like this album so much because it wasn't like Marilyn Manson's old stuff, I believe. But I think old Manson fans that liked his old stuff would not probably like this album. But it definitely has a lot of great things to it in my opinion. It has very simplistic the instrument parts are very simple, but I think they make a song. When you hear very simple music in a song, it does make a difference. You know, it really does make a difference instead of it being very complex. For the most part, this album too had a lot of great bass lines, which I was very surprised about. The bass seemed to be a main instrument off this album. For example, songs such as Slo-Mo-Tion, The Gardner, Children of Cain, and probably Breaking the Same Old Ground focused a lot on the bass. Oh, and probably You're So Vain as well. So I thought that was great, that the bass was like a focal instrument point in a song. Also, what I loved about this album too is Manson's voice. It sounded very eerie and depressed, but I actually did not mind his vocals in this album at all. I kind of liked them, even though they were very slow-paced, kind of sad sounding. But his screams aren't bad too, such as a song like Disengaged. His screaming was the main focus of that song, and he did a great job with that. Now, my favorites off of this album are probably Slo-Mo-Tion, which is a focal part of bass, and The Gardner, which he talks through the verses and then he screams in the chorus, but it sounds awesome, and the lyrics are very clever to that song as well. Disengaged, because it was the heaviest song off the album probably. Breaking the Same Old Ground, because it's a very slow, depressing track, but I really did like it. And my all-time favorite off this album, You're So Vain, the cover he did. Like I said, this album's just It's good. If you're not a typical Manson listener, check it out. This album, in all honesty, isn't for everybody. It could not be for you if you don't like any of Manson's stuff. That's okay. This album was great. I wouldn't say it's industrial metal like his typical stuff. But it really isn't that bad. I mean, it's pretty good. Some songs I thought kind of weren't that great was the single No Reflection, just because I thought it had a very dull chorus. Pistol Whipped, because I didn't really like the lyrics that much at all or anything. And the Born Villain, which is also the title album. I thought this song would be great, but it just was very generic and boring. So that was basically what I have to talk about the album. Now I'll do the CD tour. Manson on the front here, and then the track listings on the back. And then you open it up and there's really not that much to see. Here's Manson, I believe. And this says lyrics at bornvillain.com. So I guess, see, it doesn't have a booklet or anything. So you have to look up the lyrics on that website. The CD, which has this very weird symbol. And then credits on the back of the CD. So that was my album review on this. Again, it's a pretty solid record for the most part. Did have a little bumps on the road of listening to this, but it's really not that bad. Definitely check out probably Slo-Mo-Tion's a great song, and check out the cover You're So Vain. That was it, guys. Stay tuned for more reviews.